Brothers and sisters, we made it, baby. Yeah, we made it. So we're going to get serious real quick. We're going to get right to it. What are reparations? Most, thinking 97, 98% of people would tell you that it's some form of a cash payment. Another large, at least 65%, 70% would say that it's some sort of access to land and government resources. A smaller percentage, much smaller, would say that it's a combination of those things plus some sort of verbal um um rec- a verbal realizing and what's the word I'm looking for, where they have to say what they done. And I'm not talking about no apology. I'm talking about actually being accountable for what they done. Boom. Then we have an even smaller contingent. Salute, brother. Salute. And what we have now is an even smaller contingent who are, I'm not going to say they're extreme, but they're most definitely offset because there are a group of people who believe that reparations is not only financial or fiduciary means, it's not only access to the land, it's not only somebody saying what they done and holding themselves to account, it's pounds of flesh. Now they say, well, who are these pounds of flesh going to come from? They're going to come from everybody that's been against the people, who have subverted the people. The first and least obvious, but most accountable, are the unofficial and the official agents who run around the what's called the black neighborhood or the black communities and sow seeds of discord and destruction among one another through vice, through violence, and through other means, i.e., the trafficking of people. You see what I'm saying? So there's more than one way that they are destructive, but they're so subversive that these undocumented, that these off the books, that these unofficial government agents who are known as drug dealers, okay, who are known as pimps, that's right, because they deal in things that someone else told them to do that. They weren't savvy enough to go to these places to get the resources, and they weren't brave enough to put their own people out there like that not very long ago. Then, obviously, the other pounds of flesh come from those that are the most obvious oppressors of the people. Those that will say first, out of one side of their neck, I never owned any slaves. Touche, bravo, you never did that. But on the other side of their neck, they'll say that I inherited or that my parents inherited said such and blase blase. Okay, leave everything else to the side. You're telling me that there's no way, I'm, there's no way, shape, and form impossible that just because you didn't own any slaves, you didn't benefit from slavery? You might be the most vehement anti-racist, anti-slave. You might have black children or half black children, all that shit. Love black people. That doesn't change that you benefited from slavery as a direct beneficiary, not an offhand beneficiary like black people have been, who are the direct descendants of some of these people that created or implemented these devices, these structures, these systems that are followed to this very day. What are reparations? Reparations are, is, shall be the day where in which I'm speaking about us, where we can go and we can find our children that have been taken from us. That way we can be made whole in that level. Right on? There's millions of black families that have been separated by hook or by crook. And when I say by hook, I mean that the legislation of this land, the ordinance of this land allows for a person to be for their children to be taken away or for them to be put into a penal institution, depending on what the situation is. Or circumstances differ for everyone. I get that. But I'm talking about what they are is being brought back together. It's not just the money. Okay. It's not just the pounds of flesh. It's not just them saying we fucked up. It's deeper than that. It's not just the land. It's more than that. Reparations is them acknowledging that the people that were brought here are different than the people that were already here. That's reparations. To repair our not only our reputation as far as, okay, I'll take being the tail if you'll call me the child of Abraham. But I won't take being the tail, being called the child of Ham or Kam or Kim or Kaf. I won't take that. I'm sorry. I don't have to take that either. And for my people to think that our reparations is anything less than people acknowledging who we are, truly, we're already lost. We already lost that battle. Me and brother Andre, we were speaking last night. We was talking about 40 acres in the mule. And I was breaking down how if they had actually done that, there wouldn't be a lot of immigrants in this country. There'd have been no space for them. You see what I'm saying? And if they would have came here, they'd have had to work for us. So the whole dynamic would have changed completely. We would have been went from being servants to having our own servants. Right. From rags to riches, whatever they want to say, it would have happened like that for us. But real reparations would have been them allowing us to see what we had done as a people that had put us in this position and to have chastened us and corrected us in that manner and means. Not only did you tell us that we weren't people, you told us that we were the missing link to the ape family, and you stood on that. You stood on that for the irreparable harm you've done to our genealogical reputation. All those things have to be fixed. All of them. They can't just be, oh, well, that was in the past. That was just how they thought in the past. That's not acceptable. In the past, people thought it was okay to sleep with their daughters. I'm talking about in the not so distant past, but for sure in the ancient past. Until a man went up to a mountain, came back, and on stone, written in stone, not ink and paper so you can destroy it and rewrite it. Right on? Not so you can cross it out and put whatever you want in stone. This is why they say, oh, it's not written in stone. They're talking about the you know what. That's right. Till a man came down and told the people that's not okay, it was okay, or it was thought to be okay. There are a plethora of activities that have been considered, looked at, or told, even commended. I'll give you a prime example of the foolery before we get right back to the reparations. A lot of young men that I grew up with and people who are 10, 15, 20 years older than me, I'm 32. So I'm going to say I'm going to go old as 70, but really median age will be about 46 to 54, 55. They were taught that when you go drink with a young lady, right, whatever happens, happens after that. Now, see, a lot of those dudes is taught like that. They don't look at, yo, you took advantage of this chick, you really raped her. Right. If she wasn't in her right mind, and especially if you're not drunk so she's drunk, but you're not drunk. So you know what you did that with intent. Do they call that rape? Neither here nor there. See, but we've been taught not the right things. But they taught us that though. I know a bunch of different white dudes, black dudes, Asian dudes, Mexicans, Islanders, a whole bunch of them who got stories just like that. I'm talking about just volunteer me the information so they can't tell me I'm lying. Oh, it's just a one-off because it's something that you seen happen one time at a party. No, this is real life. People live like predators. I, a part of reparations is to fix the mentality that which is broken. I know only the Most High God can do these things. I'm saying, what are reparations, though? Right? If they could do it, this is what it would be. We could put the finances to the side. How do you fix broken, crazy, sociopathic, psychopathic grown men? I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. Side note, salute. Okay, let me stop, man. Don't get me started here, bro. But this is real life, man. They have not yet to approach the broken mentality of the people. Eh, But here's the thing, though. God told us, right? Whiskey, strong drink is one thing, right? Even though wine is considered a strong drink and beer, they're all different sorts. I believe that in moderation, any one of them has positive health effects. Everything takes from us. It's a give and take relationship. Whether it dehydrates you or it makes you have to use the restroom more or you become super inebriated, over toxified, way too much potion, whatever the case may be. But I do believe that there's a good thing to all little things. But that being said, they've never approached the broken mentality of the people. They have yet to really go at that and say, hey, look, we need institutions. We need just like we didn't had a study on all these other things. We don't need to do a study. We need to institutionalize people around their own people. They shouldn't have to be a real life doctor. Right? If I know what's wrong with you, if I know what's wrong with you, I should be able to fix you. If you know what's wrong with me, you should be able to fix me. It shouldn't take somebody that they say went to school, got certified. That takes too long to address right here, right now. Go get some of these empty buildings, put nice plush furniture in them, and go and target Black people in particular, those who were born in this nation and have people that were born of the nation. If nothing else, Black people that identify with being Black, no matter where they come from, they know, they understand it. Okay, I'm really a Zimbabwean, but in this country, in this land, I'm Black. Okay, I'm really from Saint Lucia, but here I'm Black. I have to accept that. For all those brothers and sisters that accept they role and know they role, salute. But that being said, they need to be. We need to have an actual way. I'm talking about today. We need to be able today to go and get these brothers and sisters off the street and listen to their stories. They ain't never been able to tell nobody their story. They're telling their stories to a bunch of other drug addicts. Let them tell their story to somebody that's going to appreciate that story, who's got nothing but time on their hands to listen to them so they can reflect and inflect and project what they need to, deflect what they must. So that way we can protect one another. See, because that there's no love. There's no love and there's no trust among so many so-called Afro-Black people. Not even Afro, just straight Black people. If you wanted to be 100, there's no love and no trust. There's a surface love that you can sense, but the deep, eternal, I'm gonna go all the way to the hilt for you, no matter what the consequences are. That love is so long. It's been so long gone that this is why these youngsters go out here doing the stuff that they do every day. They've never approached the mentality of the people. Reparations. What are they? What do they look like? Real reparation, real reparations looks like Every single individual who's been able to come to this country in the last 150 years, no matter what your race is, going to the most impoverished places in that state, and particularly where the brothers and the sisters are, and particularly those brothers and those sisters who do live in the rural side, we want them because a lot of them have been affected adversely by racist legislature, right on, by a racist law enforcement system, and then by an underhanded effort by their own people to not want to see them get up out of a bad situation to potentially help them out because they don't want to be the one to say that Ray Ray or Pookie helped me out. So what they do, they keep Pookie and Ray Ray all the way down. Pookie always wanted to be a brain surgeon, but you got him out there on a fucking block selling dope because he's so smart. He's so good at it, man. He'll never see the kind of money. Like he'll never see this kind of money, right? Ray Ray wanted to be a master carpenter, but he's a shooter now. Right. They robbed these brothers. They took from our sisters and the children. They stole from them. Nobody comes and gives them anything. When I say give, I mean give, to show homage and to say we could never experience what your people went through. The least we could do is come and make sure every day in the hood y'all eat every day. And just let y'all know that, man, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate what your ancestors did. Without them, we wouldn't even be here. Right. Nobody does that. They tell you how hard they work. You work so hard that you couldn't build up your own nation. I am the first person to bring that argument to bear when I said years ago, nigga, we got it popping. I'm the first dude that I know to say that. No, not pat myself on the back. I'm just talking about the real. They don't want to hear that. That they owe it to you to come where you're at and to break bread with you. They owe it to you. Oh, so they'd rather you go out and victimize them or victimize somebody else and then criticize you as opposed to trying to mitigate that activity because they understand the motivation for it. I seen a thing the other day. It was powerful. I don't know if it's in Baltimore or Chicago, but it's in the Midwest where they got the squeegee game going on, right? And one of the little squeegee kids, I don't know, that's the name, that's the title, that's his job title, squeegee kid. He was telling the people, he said, "Hey, look, man, if y'all ban this and outlaw this, the killer's gonna go back up, the robber's gonna go back up, all that shit is gonna go back up." This is a little dude telling them because nobody creates opportunities for them to do anything. If you told these young brothers, I guarantee I can get you $50 every day, $10 an hour, so I need at least 5 hours of work. And you go and make them mow lawns, and you go and make them pick up the trash in their neighborhood, and you make them clean up the homes, the burnt down homes in their neighborhood, and you make them to pressure wash, scrape, prime, paint those homes again. Pull out the bad plumbing. Look, you don't got to pay them a whole lot of money. Teach them some skills. So that way they understand, oh, man, shit, I'm doing this for this. I need more money. You're going to have to pay me more now because I know what I'm doing now. And nobody teaching them how to cut drywall and hang it. Nobody's teaching them how to use a leveler. Nothing. Like these dudes don't know how to do anything. And it's not that they don't want to know. It's that they're afraid to ask for help that they believe they won't get anyway. Let me repeat myself. They're afraid to ask for help they don't think they're going to receive anyway. They say a closed mouth doesn't get fed. That is very true. But when you're a servant at the table and you eat the crumbs and you notice that the dog that ate all the damn crumbs, right? What can you say? There's nothing to eat now. Right. And if you speak up and ask for and ask for the scraps, now you're begging. See? You got to wait for the scraps to come to you. If they're going to get to you, then you're not begging. You get whatever we give you. And if you don't get nothing, fuck you. And you're wondering why these little brothers and these little sisters is out here murdering and whoring. What else is there for them to do? And their grandparents, I told y'all, and their great grandparents, I'm not knocking nobody who's a homeowner. Don't get mad at me. I'm doing my best right now to get into a house. But that's neither here nor that's for whole other purposes. But they mortgage the future for home ownership. They mortgage the future for home ownership because they went and got jobs that they thought that could finance that home ownership. As opposed to teaching their children real skills, they thought it was more fun and more enjoyable. Let's go to the park and go play. You didn't even teach them how to wash dishes. You didn't teach them how to fold clothes. You didn't teach them how to make the bed. You didn't even teach them how to say their prayers at night. And in the morning when they get up to thank the Most High God once more for another beautiful, glorious day. What are reparations? Reparations is getting out of our way that we may police our own right here, right now, today. Brother Andre said he sent me an article, and they had took the page down since it was on the New York Times. I missed it by a day, and it was speaking on how a neighborhood in Brooklyn policed itself for 5 whole days without the police. They're not going to talk about how, and guess what? There was a situation where the police would have handled it much differently, probably killed the man. They talked sense into the young man, into the youth. I wasn't bewildered by that. I was bewildered by the fact I was awe-stricken. Okay. I was befuddled. I was literally perplexed by the fact that they don't let us do this more often. But then I said to Andre, that'd be too much like right, wouldn't it? To let us police ourselves. We know who the murderers are. We know who the killers are. We know who the shot callers are. It's up to us to go see them. You shed blood, you don't want to die, you have to leave. You can't stay here. You and your seed have to leave, or we'll kill you now. That's simple. You're a murderer. You're not just you're a murderer. You killed a man in cold blood for nothing. And yeah, even though we see you out here trying to do your best to deal with the youth now, to deal with the children now, they don't know what we know. And his people are tired of letting that blood stay on your hands and watch you act as if you're holier than thou. They're ready to take you out. This is how those brothers who do those community things, who end up getting killed, 99.9999999% of the time, they kill somebody. When they get laid out like that, I don't care how young, how old they are. I don't care how cool you think they are. Oh man, they always show some of the coldest killers and murderers are the politest people. When I say some of the most ruthless, animalistic, primal nature murderers, killers, when they have to present themselves in another light, are some of the coolest people, most laid back individuals you'll ever meet. And you won't ever know that they was like that unless you cross them. You'd have no idea that this motherfucker would kill you and your whole family without thinking about it until you cross and do something stupid. True. We don't have a way of getting rid of them though. If we go out and kill them, the murderer killer faction that they come from is going to want to murder, kill you, me, the next man. See what I'm saying? So unless we get them all out of there one day, one time, but then we got to face the laws of this land. This is the truth, y'all. This is the truth. They have to go. That is reparations. Those are reparations. To repair something is to fix it. You cannot repair something if you do not initiate in the in the in the beginning stage of remediation. That might just be the inspection of it. They're not the only ones that must go. The drug dealers must go. The praise that people have for individuals like Freeway Rick Ross, Big Meech, Larry Hoover, what's his name? Nicky Barnes, uh, um, what's the brother's name, man? Frank Matthews, Frank Lucas, all them niggas, right? They got love for Bumpy, right? They got all that love for these dudes. Oh, he used to do this and used to do that. None of them got legitimate. None of them made it to where, forget it's not a front anymore. It's a legitimate business that I've separated from those activities. Nope. Got to be able to launder that money. And people respect and honor individuals that brought death and destruction to our neighborhoods. They brought more destruction than they brought life. Do you understand? Right. They brought destruction. Look at all the neighborhoods where Big Meech was known about. Look at those places. Tell me one place that is in prime condition. Tell me one. Tell me one locale where Big Meech was at where you're like, that's a good city. I'd take my family to live there right now. Go up and down the East Coast for all the places for all those East Coast players I named. Tell me one city you would move your family to right now. Not a one, that's what. But you don't think that they need to be removed off the face of the earth. Reparations means justice. What is justice? Doing the right thing even when it makes you uncomfortable. I'm not worried about no white folks. Because the most poisonous, the most treacherous, lecherous individuals that we deal with look just like us. You worry about Peckerhead Wonder later, Super Honky later. They'll get theirs. But the first phase of reparations is us dealing with us. No, nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that. That's the first way that we repair the breach that's in the people. That's it. They don't want to see they can't deal with the idea that if you continue on this way, when the Most High God comes back, he may not try to save or spare any flesh. Do these guys realize what's coming to them? Okay, they're having record low. Listen to me. Record low for like the last 5-6 years on end. Record low homicide clearances all across the nation. Record low. It's not as bad as 1992 Baltimore, Maryland, but it's pretty bad when you really do the real numbers. It's less than half. Less than half. Less than half of these offenders are caught. It's just when you do the real numbers. Right. But they caught everybody who was selling weed in Mississippi and Tennessee 30, 40 years ago and like to take their whole lives from them. Yes. But who put them in that situation? Treacherous, lecherous pieces of shit. People say they made their own decisions. Somebody else, unless they grew the weed themselves, then you got me. But I'm hard pressed to believe that they did that. Do they know how long it takes to harvest marijuana? I mean, do y'all really know how long it takes months to do it right? Okay, you can do some stuff in a few months and have some popcorn buds and push those out and whatever. But if you want some real healthy buds, man, you're talking 6, 7 months of cultivation and cutting everything, clipping everything, letting everything dry out properly, letting it cure properly. Like all that shit takes months. So a lot of people don't know that. They ain't never grown no weed. They ain't never sold no weed. I get it. Fine. But I'm just talking about from personal experiences. I know for a fact it's not that easy. So somebody's helping them. Once again, all those unofficial, undocumented agents for the government, whether they be DEA, whether they be CIA, NSA, or FBI, or whatever faction of alphabet foolery that they're dealing with. Trust, you wouldn't know. You would not know. You would not know, brothers and sisters, how many of these people that you've listened to, all right, are literally in the bed with the feds. I'm willing to bet, okay, I'll bet $1 to a dime that over half the black YouTubers who were like I'm talking about the highest up. And then you got to be able to discern. I'm not going to say no names, but there was an individual whose home was raided, right? Or there was an attempted SWAT attempt on their home. The most awkward thing about it was that it seemed like an attempt to legitimize this person, not to victimize or demonize them. You have to know the looks of certain things to understand it. How many of y'all been to that museum yet? Huh? That Hidden Houston Museum. How many of y'all gonna ever get down there and go? I might just go this next month just to go check it out, but they got to have an event. See, it's not just open to the public. They got to have something going on. So I'm gonna have to have some money. I'm gonna have to go pay to get in there just so I can see what it actually looks like. Right. Because it's not open to the public. But they crowdfunded $1 million off the people so they could make money. I'm not gonna knock it. I mean, it's knockable. It's knockable, but I'm not gonna knock it. And if they'll tell you that a person that's crowdfunding over $1 million from your people is not no agent, even though they don't do what they say they're gonna do. You got guys traveling to different countries, changing their last names. Ifatunde. As if that makes you any less of the nigga here that you already were. And they don't have to tell me that these dudes are agents. Whenever somebody tells me they did an extended period of time in prison, I automatically question their mental understand. I have to. Because guess what? The same people who go to prison and come out talking like that be the same dudes that go in prison and get converted. You hear what I'm saying? Now, most people won't say that out loud like, yo, how do all these dudes who went to prison, right? How do they all, once again, like they have that in common, but then they also have this, they learn some kind of psychology shit going on, right? Now, people can say, oh, they did that all on their own free will. You don't know who came to visit these people while they were locked up. You do not know. Man, one time I went to jail, right? This is crazy. This is real life shit. One time I went to jail. I wasn't even in jail for 15 minutes. And these two detectives came to see me. Nigga, I had just got booked in. And the damn sheriff's deputy is like, Jones, you got visitors. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm standing around and shit. I'm looking at this brother who I was a brother I used to work with who was there. We was chopping it up. All of a sudden, I just got there. When they want to put the word in, when they want to put the word in, right on that somebody's here, and there's somebody looking for you, and they want to see you, right? They're gonna come see you. So they can't tell me, nigga, you're in a prison where you have to have certain clearance just to even visit folks. They got to do a background check on you. They got to do all kinds of. You don't get to just go visit people when they're locked up in prison. That's not how it works. So now all of a sudden you got a dynamic where these dudes are literally being farmed at a place where you can't see it. It's the same thing that happened to Huey P. Newton. He was never the same when he got out. He was never the same. I like to see these guys before they got locked up. I'd have to be around, I'd have to have been around them before they got locked up. And I can guarantee you, I'm gonna never this, I'm gonna have noticed there's gonna be two different people. What are reparations? Like I said, repairing our identity. So that way I know who I'm looking at. I get tired of the idea that just because this person has a beard and an afro that they got to, that has to be your people. So I don't want to claim them, especially if they on some shit where it looks like, bro, you're benefiting too much off the fuckery. Think about that. They're benefiting off of foolery. And nobody looks at these people like, because these niggas is some kind of, they're the opposition. They're making the face of reparations a schemer, scammer, liar, fraud. Then on the other side, lightweight, you still got gay girl. Right. No black people with straight up strong, powerful backgrounds are the face of that. No, not one. When I say a powerful, strong back, I'm not talking about you never went to jail or never went to. No, 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 no. There's moments where we've seen you where you could have fell out of your character and you didn't. I've seen all these dudes get out of character over nothing. I've seen these niggas snap and turn on people who were some of their most ardent supporters. I've watched it happen where these dudes will tell somebody that's been hanging around in their comment section for years, see, I knew there was always something about you. You support, you do this, but I always knew there was something crazy or something off about you. There was something about, they'll do that. They'll do that. Let that sink in. You always knew, huh? Really, did you? So if you always knew, why didn't you never approach it and address it? But they claim to be real. They claim to be, B1 and all this other extra shit. Some of those dudes who talk about their B1, you know for a fact these niggas is government. If you guys can't put two and two together, shit, if you can't put one and one together, y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble. Y'all are in trouble. You have individuals who were literally still all the way into some of these political factions, indebted and embedded in them, who are giving you information. It seems like they're coming with, it seems like it's tip of the spear information, but really it's insider trading. You hear me? It seems like it's not like me, where I'll go around, I'll read 20 different articles, 30 different articles in a day. And then I might perceive something from article 1 that's in article 28, that was in article 17, that was in article 4. Now I'm pulling them all together all of a sudden. Before I know it, I'm seeing a big picture. Things that are not all the way connected, but do come together at some point. It's totally different. They will come with look, they'll tell you names of people who you haven't heard of much or seen of much, and they'll speak on the profile of a person. Look, I'm not sure if y'all remember this shit. A year and a half ago, there was a really hardcore campaign from a lot of these black YouTubers who were talking about the Asian hate stuff. Now, what I thought was most surprising was that these dudes had predicated the circumstances for the Asian hate before the Asian hate movement even started. They spoke it up and literally created an environment and incubated it. They were like, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. But really, what it seemed like was they were putting in motion what they were told to put in motion by their handlers. See, when a person has a handler, once again, for those of you who've never been around somebody famous or somebody with security or anything like that, your handler will sometimes tell you to do things, excuse me, where you can't understand. You'll be like, why do you want me to do that? The handler is connected to other individuals who was like, tell them to do this, this, and this. So that way, when we roll out the carpet for this, all these things flow. Right. They created an environment for that. But don't nobody want to call those dudes the opposition or agents. Right. Right. They shouldn't have said nothing. What they should have done is went on a pro-Asian campaign. We're not, look, we're all for y'all getting businesses and getting money. We ain't got nothing against that. I don't know what y'all talking about. But instead, they laid the foundation for the things that would come that haven't been as prevalent since, because would anybody believe if these guys was in the room with politicians, drinking wine and eating cheese, snorting coke? Huh? Would anybody really believe that they was really like that, that some of these dudes is that close to politicians not from their state? Right. Shit is deeper than what people understand it to be. Reparations, what are they? It's us being able to identify who we are. Once again, you need to be able to see friend from foe. It needs to be a clear distinction, but it's not for all of us. Some of us are together with the enemies, and I don't mean like married to them or nothing like that. I'm gonna give you how I see it. You have people who are so tired of the foolery in the Afro-Black community that they would rather side with points that they know are not completely true about all of us. Right. They're not going to try to defend Chicago because they're like, man, Chicago's a terrible place to live. Even if they live there and they love it, you got brothers and sisters that are like that. They're not going to do anything to defend what they know that they should defend, which is those we protect the innocent and we punish the guilty. I've been saying that for a long time. That's what I do. I do not protect the damn guilty and punish the innocent. That's the problem now. That's why we don't have reparations already. Because you have individuals who would rather protect somebody who's guilty. Now, the same black people that shit on niggas who live in those same cities got no smoke for immigrants. Let that sink in. They have zero smoke for the immigrant. Oh, they look how hard they work. The nigga that you say don't want to work, they took the work from them. They went in, they did it for less, and then once they did it for so long for less, they asked for a raise, and the raise they got was likened to a modern wage that Leroy would be getting. Okay? That our sister Denise would be getting. Huh? Nope. No love, though. No love for Sister Sheila. Okay. No love for Brother Brandon. Straight up. When I say they got no smoke for the immigrant, none. They're part of the problem. They're part of the problem. I love them, but they're still part of the problem. And you know who the coldest one like this is? Nope, not Officer Tatum. Anthony Brian Logan. And I love that, bro. That's look, of all the niggas who talk shit about black people or say stuff about black people, he be the realest. If you just listen, he be cooning sometimes. He be having, he be cooning every once in a while, but he be saying some real nigga shit. Where if you just listen to his logic, it's undeniable, bro. It's literally irrefutable, inarguable, all that stuff. Unmesswithable, unfuckwithable on the point where he be like, talking about how can you tell me to defend black people who are uber violent against one another? Extra violent. Forget the FBI numbers. He'll take you on like forget all the numbers type of hit. Just look at how they live. Right. Even if you mitigate all that other shit, look at how niggas be living. Right. Only knock on him is him saying that the KKK wasn't that bad. That's my only knock on, bro. My only knock on, bro. Like major one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never forgot that. I never will. That's his mind to think. I can't think for him. I don't want to think for him. Having said that, you have individuals who will sensationalize what black people do over everyone else. They don't talk about white criminality. They don't talk about Asian criminality. They don't talk about Hispanic criminality. They don't talk about Islander criminality or African criminality. They don't talk about nobody but us. As if all these other groups over here are on the fucking up and up. That's another thing that needs to be repaired. Is people need to understand that there is not one single group in this country that has not been involved in some sort of nefarious activity. It's the way this land was built. So you have to engage. If you get to a certain level, there's going to be things where you might not have to kill nobody, but they might ask you to be dishonest. Ask me how I know. I've been asked to be dishonest more times than a lot of people I know. I would have made a lot of money, but because I don't feel comfortable doing that, there's something about that that does not feel right. I can't do it. I won't do it. Not gonna do it. You see what I'm saying? Uh, what are reparations? Like I said, giving us back our babies so that way we can enjoy them and love them and hug on them and kiss on our little babies and raise them up and teach them the right way, to show them the things that we weren't shown, to mitigate some of the rage, to mitigate some of the hate, to mitigate the angst they have in their heart naturally. I don't know not one black man who's not angry. I didn't say outwardly. I'm just talking about angry. I don't know not one. I don't know not one real brother. I don't know one real brother that's not angry. They might not practice anger. They might not live in anger. But at the bottom line of why they snap so quick is because they're angry people. I know I'm an angry individual. I don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder, but I know there's a lot of anger that festers in this soul, in this vessel. I know it. I'm not in denial of that. But my brothers and my sisters are in denial of their anger. They think because they got a 2023 car, mortgage paid, children in college, they don't think that they feel any anger. But the moment they see an unjust, they ready to throw all that shit away. Brothers and sisters, you are angry. It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to act on your anger. I'm here for us. Well, you ain't heard me talk about white folks like that too much, but let me hit on that real quick. That part of reparations. They got to give up everything they got. And I don't care how hard they work to get it. Unless you come from some uncharted land on this earth, everything you have is owed to us. Everything. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. I'm not sorry, really. It's just unfortunate that they didn't give to us what they said. Had you given niggas 40 acres and a mule and not backed off on that, there'd be no conversation right now. Do they understand that part? Reparations is getting them to keep their word, to honor the word of their ancestors. And I don't give a fuck about a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. I don't care about none of that shit. You said you're not them. You said you're not your ancestors. So go against that. Yes, you're talking to the nigga that thought outside the box, for sure. I thought about it long and hard. You said you're not them. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Give me everything that you got. And all my people everything that you got. We'll show you. We'll show you the right way. Black people lost their minds building this country. Lost their whole minds building this country. You know how I know they lost their minds? We think English is our language. I'm not talking about none of the native, aboriginal, indigenous tongues of the land. I'm talking about the tongue that we spoke when we came here. I'm not seditious. Not anymore. I don't practice those ways anymore. So I would never tell the people that when they came here, they was singing Allahu Akbar. I would never tell you was doing anything like that because I don't believe that. There's no evidence of that. None, not even a little bit. How I know this to be the truth is because Muslims traveled freely to this country for hundreds of years and still do. Before your indentured and after. Yes. Yes, my people. So if that was really the truth, there would be there were no, where are the dudes who were Arabs who were like, my people were slave owners and we made sure that y'all kept y'all history? Where they at? They don't exist. That's where. Not to say that they never existed, but I'm saying that during the Moroccan Treaty, people don't believe it. The Moroccan Treaty pretty much restituted all the Moroccans who were here, who might have been, if they were found to be Moroccan. Okay? They came here with their own servants and their own whatever, all that shit was supposed to be given back to them. Thank you. So what language did we really speak? We couldn't have spoke the language of the actual Africans, and we was around them for thousands of years, for over 1,000 years. Listen to my point to this. Niggas had no clue that they were about to sell us. No clue. Or was there some niggas who looked just like me and you who were in on it? The seditious ones. Is that how their people got to stay there? Huh? Is that how they were able to be there for longer, uninterrupted? I don't know. But there's so many questions that have no answers that when I think about reparations, I'm thinking about my whole foot, the heel to the from the back of my heel to the very tip of my toe needs to be stepping on the face of all the children of all the people who sold us here and stomping their motherfucking heads right into dust. Straight up. Right. Give me back my language. That's why God said He's gonna give us a new one, incorruptible one. Shh, shh. They don't believe. So, right. They stole everything from you, people. From me too. But I'm just, I got to make it personal for you. This is not your native tongue. Right. This is not our real language. The way that they live, this is not how we used to live. This country has been around for less time than when we were in Egypt. Let that sink in. And we haven't even been in this country for a fourth of the time, let alone a fifth of the time we were in so called Africa. Let that sink in. Right. What are reparations? True acknowledgement of what really happened. They don't want to, once again, go show me and find one account. And I mean one account. And I mean one account. And I mean only one of people speaking what would have been considered an Anglo language in antiquity. Find one, please. That is, you do know what English is. English, the word English, the term English comes from the Anglos, Lombards, Saxons, them, the Picts, the Jutes, yeah? Franks, meaning what? Angel, meaning that they were the children of angels. That's what they claim. They were claiming that when they first got on the scene. Listen, they were claiming they were the children of angels when they first got on the scene. They've always claimed that. Whether they're the children of angels, the devil, Satan, the serpent, really does. It matters, but it does matter to them. Doesn't matter at all to me. I'm not here to discern that. I don't care about that. I'm here to tell the people what I've been saying. What are reparations? As I said in the beginning, there's a large contingency of people, almost 100%, who believe it's some sort of cash or financial payment, reimbursement. There's another contingency that believe, along with cash, that it should be land given to the people. There's another contingency who believe outside of those things that there needs to be verbal recognition of the ills that were done to the people in full. Then there's other folks who are the outliers of the outliers of the outliers who believe that outside of all those things, pounds of flesh, and I mean pounds of flesh, are needed to reparate the people properly. Right. I haven't forgotten my point. I won't forget my point. There's no point to forget because it's the truth. Quick question while I load up a little snapper of my greenery. Oh, I got a little bit right here. Quick question. Do you think they don't want to reparate you because you're black, or they don't want to reparate you because it's the right thing to do? or both. Another question. Did America really only give the Japanese, we'll get to the Israelis in a moment. Did they only really give the Japanese money for having them in internment camps because they nuked their nation? Hmm? Even greater question. Did America go out of the way to make sure that the Israelis got that land that they wanted because those same Israelis helped to get our black asses over here? Just a question. Got nothing to do with Hitler. Nothing. It's just questions. Don't answer them. You don't have to answer them to yourself. Right on. But I'm gonna ask again. Do you think that they don't want to reparate black people, us, because we're black, and or because it's the right thing to do? Do you believe that they reparated the Japanese not because they had them in internment camps, but because they actually nuked them? And do you believe that America reparated the Israelis? Okay, because not because of what Hitler done to them, no, but because of the role that they played in the transatlantic slave trade. They give Israel money every year. They've been giving them money every year for almost 80 years. Since Israel's been a nation, I don't give a fuck if it's official or unofficial. They've been giving them motherfuckers money. Since 1947, they've been giving Israel money. So-called Israel. And don't nobody ever ask themselves, is that because of something else? Is it because of the part that they played in the slave trade? Probably realistically is. Because they're not giving the Japanese anything else. And you nuked them. Forever changed their genealogy and all that. The nuke was so cold. Look, do y'all know how they tried to explain the Japanese people getting taller after that nuclear bomb? They said that it was the introduction of calcium through cow milk that made they got 6 inches taller on average in a generation's worth of time. Couldn't have been that the water got radiated and made them bigger. That's not possible. That's not possible at all. Before we head out, before I get up off of this, because I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be doing all this, but I just gotta say, it's a travesty for people to believe that they're not owed anything. When I say back then they don't owe me, like I said, you won't give me what I'm owed. I'm owed $1 trillion. I can't speak for nobody else's case. Me, I'm owed a whole trillion. That's what I'm owed. I ain't gonna back up. I'm not backing up. I'm not backing off my number. A wise man once said, "Know yourself, know your worth, nigga." Okay. I don't know where he got that from, but I know myself and I know my worth. And if I ain't worth $1 trillion to them, fuck them. They can't give me nothing else. It's not a reparation payment, and I ain't signing my name nowhere saying that that's reparations. No, you can just give that to me while I wait for the real one. Straight up. That's how it is. Whatever you think your time here in America is worth to you, that's what it's worth. If you think your time is only worth 10 billion, I'm sorry, you shortchanged yourself. I'm telling you that you shortchanged yourself. All of our cases is worth $1 trillion, at least. You'd have to be a murderer, rapist, faggot to have no case here. You got to be all three, but you got to be at least one of those in a real. And I'm talking about no, you ain't seeking no repentance. You ain't seeking none of that. Whore, put the whore in there too, so that way females don't try to I skate up, I skate uphill on that bill. No, 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 no. The whore too. And just because you don't call yourself a whore doesn't mean you're not one. Playing a whore one time and being a whore continuously are not the same. Let me go ahead and say that. Because being a whore is not like taking a life. You just go against the fabrication, the fabric, the build, the makeup of your soul. Like I used to say, they chipping away at their soul. I used to say that all the time. I don't say it as much. But right, that's what they do. They chip away at their soul. I'm not worried about the unrepentant. Same stupid ass niggas would be like, if there was a God, why don't he stop this? The angels in the book of Enoch asked him when they found out what the angels on earth had done. They were like, you knew this whole time. Why didn't you say nothing? Right. Don't worry about it. It's called free will and understanding consequences and being accountable. If the angels had held themselves to account, if Adam had held himself to account, we wouldn't be in this situation. It's the first act of willful disobedience was through he and his wife. Everything that follows after, you could almost contend that the angels were angry that God didn't kill Adam. Some of the same watchers, it's not written down there. Perplexed, maybe, but were convinced that if the Most High God didn't kill him, there's no way he's going to kill us. Not outright. He didn't outright kill him. Got to think about it. I'm giving y'all the game at the end so that way people, they don't feel like it was a Bible fest, but this is for my people. So if God didn't get off the throne for them, I express this all the time. I always express this. God did not get off the throne for the angels. He's not going to get off the throne for me or for you or for nobody else. He's not. That should be the precedent. That should be what they're able to look at. But these dudes have never read the Bible. They pick and choose what they want to accept. And reparations is us taking back our faith in the end. Um, I don't believe in any teachings of Paul because he is against the law, right? He says that the law is dead. Let's go ahead and run down a list of things. If the law is dead, you can't persecute homosexuals, even though they're against life and they bring disease and destruction into the community. If the law is dead, it's okay to lie in wait and murder people. If the law is dead, it's okay to rape. If the law is dead, I can covet my neighbor's wife, his servant, his maidservant, his ass, and all of his land. If the law is dead, I don't have to honor my mother or my father. If the law is dead, I can worship graven images of things in the sky, on the earth, and in the water beneath. Huh? Did you hear me? Right. I didn't say the law was dead. I've contended the opposite. I will contend the opposite. That, my friends, is a part of reparations. It's for them to repair the understanding of that which is right. The people have been misguided, misled, and misused for far too long. I would say mistreated, but they allowed for the mistreatment. They accompanied, agreed, and even uh, 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 what's the word I'm looking for? Applauded their mistreatment. I can't do that. I won't. If the law is dead, my friends, we're in trouble. We'll never be reparated. You will not receive reparations if they believe that the laws of Moses are dead. That's reparations. It's for them to see that the laws are not dead. That's real reparations. That's the only way to really repair our people. It's for them to see that the laws that they're supposed to follow, that they should follow, that they have not been following, are what they need to do in order for the Most High God to understand that they know. Because within the laws are the instructions to call upon Him, to cry out and to seek Him out. Right. In that day, right? That's typically how it's in that day, that being a time to come, has not yet to pass, will eventually see to or progress to in that day, in those days. Don't worry. The people just have to realize that that's real reparations. The, our reparations, what are reparations? Is for people to see that the laws of the Most High God, through the greatest prophet to ever live, Moses, are still relevant and are still applicable to their lives. And until they realize this, no law of this land can copy the law of the Bible and that law itself not be dead. Brothers and sisters, reparations are and will always be being made whole. All the things that are wrong to be made right. They have not addressed what we need. Peace, brother. Peace. I like to believe that we're all beloved by the Most High God, His chosen, His called, His people, but we don't act beloved. Okay, that's the problem that we're having as a as a stranded nation, as a dispersed nation of people. Every last bit. But I hope you want your pound of flesh too. The pounds of flesh that are owed to you, because it's owed to you. That which was taken, that they cannot replace, must be taken from them. On this note, I leave. When King Shaul, the son of Kish, of the tribe of Benjamin, when he became king, he sought out to destroy the Gibeonites. Now, people forget this. The Gibeonites practiced a craftiness among the people when they heard that Israel was running through the land. They came and they tattered their clothes up and they made themselves look all beat down and they joined forces or joined league with Israel. Now, Joshua did not consort. He did not look for the Most High God for guidance. Okay. He didn't do anything with the Most High God. Okay, he didn't contact him or look for his contact through cooperation. He did what he wanted to do. What was most amazing about this instance is that these same Gibeonites, now we don't crush them because we make a league with them not to kill them. Shaul was offended by this during his kingdom, during his reign. He tried to kill them to the very last man, skipping and going fasting forward and fasting forward. David is now the king. Jonathan's son. I can't think of the man's name. He has palsy. Okay. The Gibeonites come to David and demand all of Shaul's family, the whole of them. David gave them all up but Jonathan's son. Right on, because he loved Jonathan and Jonathan loved him. David gave them all up, right? So they can't tell me that just because their father's father or their father done something, because I know the Most High God told me. He said he is going to repay back the sins on the third and fourth generations. The third and the fourth generation were given over to the Gibeonites. We live in the third and fourth generation of the people who are our first before us. The, the third generation are your children's children, because the second generation from you are your children. The fourth generation being your grandchildren. Listen to my point as I roll out. The third and the fourth generation of the individuals that have oppressed us should place themselves in front of us to be held account. That we do not hold another third and fourth generation accountable for what they do not do. What are reparations? Money, land, and blood. That's what reparations are. So that way we may identify ourselves as who we truly are. It's a shame that I have to spell it out or say it out like that. That is reparations. Money, land, blood. I ask you to not let yourself become angry. I ask yourself not to become disgruntled, even though you will become angry naturally. Do not become disgruntled. Do not act in the anger for sure. As I will always say, may tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last. We are owed all those things: money, land, and blood, and not in that order. I salute you. I salute you again. I salute you once more.